Hello and welcome to another episode of the Nerd Sandwich Podcast. I'm your host, the Invincible Juan, and I'm here with
the totally awesome John.
And thank you for joining us today, folks. Before we kick off, our comic store shout out goes to Have Fun Collectibles, located in Moline, Illinois, the good old Quad Cities, the QC of A, located on Avenue of the Cities, right across the Hy-Vee. Again, that is Have Fun Collectibles. They have comics, toys, and everything in between. So if you guys have a question about comic books, they have an answer for you. You can find them on Facebook, and you can also find them on their website at havefuncollectibles.com. John, what do you got for us today, man?
So today we got some really awesome stuff, something a little different. We got some interviews, or kind of like a fun interaction we had with these three awesome action figure customizers. You can find them, you can find them on Toy Lover Crew on Instagram. That's at Toy Lover Crew. You can check out that group, and we'll just jump into it. Welcome to an episode of
Nerd Sandwich, comics, movies, nerd things, sandwiches, woo, 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 woo.
All right, and here we are back on Nerd Sandwich, folks, and today we're joined by some awesome guests.
Pretty awesome, fantastic.
Yes, pretty amazing dudes known in the figure game. These guys are also members of the Toy Lover Crew on Instagram. Make sure you guys go find TLC Toy Lover Crew and give us a like, give us a follow, do all that fun stuff. And without further ado, let's jump right in. So John and I are joined today by the legendary Kurst Customs, DTois Customs, and Tosh Customs as well.
Yay.
Hey, dudes. Welcome.
What's up?
Awesome. So, we're here to discuss what other than toys, dudes, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, hell yeah. Awesome. It's such a booming area to work in, and it's something that I've kind of recently started doing. I haven't been in it very long, but to be honest, when I started Instagram, when I started doing all that stuff, you guys were some of the first people I started following. So it's kind of cool to be in your group and to have you guys on the show. So it's super awesome. Really glad you guys are here today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Pleasure.
I'm pumped for you guys. So as the noob, my noob perspective, I'm looking at your guys' pages right now on Instagram. Holy cow, man. These are so good. I don't even know.
And probably most viewers don't know either. So I guess let's kind of start from the beginning. Chris, let's start with you, bud. What got you guys into collecting? And to branch off of that, what did you start collecting?
Oh man, it's about to get super deep in here, okay?
Oh man, this is the perfect place to do it.
Oh man, all right. Well, I was super broke as a kid. Well, my parents were super broke. So I didn't have toys. I had one or two odd toys, but just as I got older, I got a job. And it was either buy skateboards or buy action figures. And
that's a tough crossroads.
Yeah, right. And my body is now broken. So what other way to spend my money on besides toys?
Oh,
so,
man.
I mean,
it's awesome. That's your superhero origin story right there.
Yeah, right.
Healthcare.
Oh man, yeah. Healthcare. Thanks, Obama.
Yeah, who needs healthcare?
That's pretty sweet, dude. So, what were some of your first major fig purchases and stuff? What got you into the collecting game?
I don't know. I think I saw Marvel Select at a comic book shop that was by my house, and I saw a Juggernaut, and I was like, Jesus, that thing is sick. And it was $20. So I was like, okay, I'll buy the Juggernaut. And I had it just sitting on my table. And then the little kid in me was like, oh, I'm going to rip it apart. So I broke it apart. And then that's actually how I got into customizing. I went from a Juggernaut and turned it into Bane.
Wow. So you dove in pretty early on.
Yeah.
I was collecting for a long time before I decided to get into customs. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know. As a kid, I always tore everything apart. I wanted to be an engineer. So I took things apart and tried to put them back together, but I never couldn't put them back together. So I would take apart a radio and then you would have a fan. So I was like, you know what? I can do the same thing. I'll take apart a juggernaut, and now you have Bane.
That's so awesome.
That's really
Happened to my
that's
boombox.
amazing. And is that on your Instagram right now, or is it on there?
It's on like my early posts, maybe. No promises. But
It's on his Zanga page.
yeah, it's on my Zanga. If you check my MySpace, it should be on there.
There you go.
That's awesome. That's amazing. But like, I'm just looking at these right now, and like they're just so like detailed. I wouldn't even know how to do this. Like I'm looking. I don't know. These are great.
John, you're in for a show, man. Because by the end of this, I expect you to be able to customize an entire Galactus on your own.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I could barely draw.
That's awesome. Tosh, let's go to you, man. What about you? What's your origin story?
I was always into art, so I was always drawing stuff. So for like easily like 10 years, I was just doodling, drawing that kind of stuff. And then figure-wise, so that was like the artist side. And then figure-wise, I was picking up a lot of 3.75-inch figures or 3 3/4 inch figures for a long time. So I had a huge G.I. Joe collection. I had the Marvel Universe at the time. And so whenever I didn't like the detail on those, I'd try to paint those. And so I was just doing like little repaint stuff on these really small figures. And then a friend gave me a Marvel Legends for Christmas. And it was the Wolverine from the whatever, was it Terex? Was that one Wolverine?
Was it I don't think that had a Wolverine in it.
It was one of those. It was one of the early waves when the Marvel Legends got rebooted.
The Puck Wave.
Oh, wow.
Wolverine.
Oh, Puck. Okay.
Puck Wave, yeah.
Yeah. So he gave me that for Christmas. A friend gave me that for Christmas, and I was like, "This is really sweet. I like the scale." And I eventually moved to like the McFarlane Halo figures, and so the scale just got larger and larger till I moved to Marvel Legends. And so I had a Punisher from one of those early waves too. I had the Thunder, whatever it's called, the Thunder variant, the red one, the red skull on his chest.
Oh yeah, the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, Thunderbolts. There we go. So I had that, and then I picked up the Winter Soldier from the Captain America Winter Soldier movie, and so I was just like painting those guys and doing extra details on them, and that's how I got into customizing. And I found a bunch of customizers like Marvel custom figures.
Yeah,
a couple other guys. Yeah. So I found those guys. I found a couple of them, and so I was messaging them, and they told me how they made customs, and that's how I got into it.
Dude, that's awesome. That's like fairly recent too. Wow, I didn't realize it was like when I think of Winter Soldier, I think of like a year ago, 2 years ago, and I'm thinking like you guys have been in for like 7 years, like your whole life or something. It's just
no.
been that long.
I mean, I'm just looking at your Instagram. I've been scrolling down for like the past, like what seems 30 minutes. It seems like. I'm trying to find whatever your first is, just to like gauge some progress here. And
yeah, you should go to the very, like if you go to the very bottom. I think my first official thing was the Ultron Build-A-Figure repaint.
Okay.
And then I think I have Punisher there somewhere.
Yeah, I saw a Punisher.
Oh yeah,
I see a lot. Yeah, I see an Iron Man body. These are great. I see a Hydra shield.
Yeah, the Hydra shield was the first custom that I did sculpt for.
Yeah, your very first post.
Oh wow, dude! I've actually never seen that Hydra shield. That's my first time seeing that. That's fucking sick.
This Ultron though looks amazing. Like it looks really. I mean, I like the pillows and the couch in the background too. That's great.
Oh yeah. That was when I first started, and I didn't know anything about like posing and displaying. I was just like, I just need pictures of this.
Vanilla posing 101.
Yeah.
For sure. I love it.
Yeah.
I love the face though. So this Ultron is inspired by the. Is this like the original Ultron, or I'm not sure?
This one was inspired by the movie. I based the paint job off the Hot Toys one. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So whatever. So this is, I would say, nearly exactly like the Hot Toys one. Obviously, minus some detailing because it's a Build-A-Figure. As far as sculpt, but
I actually really dig the paint you did on the back. The paint that you did on the back is awesome because they totally gypped us on that one. Like all the paint was on the front, but like nothing was in the back.
Yeah, so I did full silver, and then I did all the red and black detailing.
Nice, dude. That's sick.
That's legit.
It's awesome.
Like, I'm impressed. I mean, I it's so cool.
Man, so that's two origin stories, and last but not least, we got DTois himself. DTois. What's with you, man? What's up?
Well, my origin story, it's a bit more deep rooted in childhood. Like I remember growing up in Brooklyn, back in the day, Brooklyn, mid '90s.
Oh man, you're just a kid from Brooklyn.
Your voice is literally like an origin story.
Yeah, yeah. So we you'd go shopping, and you see a toy, and your mom would be like, "No, you can't have that," and you just be all bummed out. I was the type of guy.
Classic.
I'll show you. I'll make my own. So we had this Christmas tree. I've never had a real Christmas tree. It's always been one of those plastic with the bendy branches. So I yank those off. Kind of make stick figures, and this is awesome. I can make my own army. This is like primitive army building. So
You sound like Ultron.
that graduated to pipe cleaners, which I used to use. Different colors, make different characters, and get some paper or gloves and cut them up, and make new things. Different materials, and kind of see where your imagination takes you. This is how I was as a kid. Then I got into clay, started making monsters, and it wasn't refined, it wasn't anything great, but it's a creative outlet. You let your imagination run wild. You just let the colors run and let them do your thing. And about maybe 2-3 years ago, Instagram, came across Loose Collector.
Yeah,
and
nice.
I was astounded.
Classic.
Like, holy smoke, this is what this guy is doing with these action figures. This is such clean work. So I moved from my clay and pipe cleaner platform and jumped onto the figures. I was like, hey, let's use these bases and make something beautiful. The detail is there. All you got to do is just build on it. So doing research and, experimenting with different chemicals and, not drugs, chemicals, like clay and stuff like that.
different needle types and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Are we talking about figures or Breaking Bad?
Yeah,
Both.
right. I'm on
Breaking figs.
Oh, hey.
Oh.
So,
Breaking Bad figs.
Tor, I'm looking at your your very first post. I see. I believe this is Ant-Man, Juggernaut, man with hair, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I found a lot on eBay with these miscellaneous figures, and what? Let me test out this Magic Sculpt. At the time, it was my first time using Magic Sculpt, and this material was amazing to me because it didn't shrink, crumble, or break easily, and it hardened to a nice plastic consistency, which was in line with the action figures. I'm like, hey, this is great. This is durable. It can be painted. Let's see what I can do. So I found an old one of those old Toy Biz Iron Man, the Hulkbuster, or the really old one.
Nice.
From like 1995 or something like that. Now, let me see how it turns to the Juggernaut.
Whoa.
And I think on that pitch I actually showed the original and what I was sculpting at the time. Again, unrefined, no skill whatsoever, just practice, seeing where the imagination takes us. That's essentially what customizing is. Your dissatisfied emotions with the existing figures and letting your imagination run wild and coming up with something brand new and unique.
Oh my God.
That's an excellent point too, man. Like, because that kind of leads into the next topic is like, what kind of led you guys to get into customizing? And I noticed one of the things you said was you're kind of like unsatisfied with the toys that are being put out there.
Absolutely.
And it's like, I don't know, man. Like when I see a $20 figure and it's got like missing paint apps, crummy sculpts or flat paint and all that stuff, it's kind of frustrating to me. It kind of makes me really want to change something about it. So
absolutely.
I don't know, like the custom game is something that's definitely booming right now. And I know when I first started, I was scared as hell. Like I didn't want to break anything. So it's very interesting to me that like, I don't know, like, do you guys have a similar approach? Like I know Kurst said like the first fig he bought was something that he customized right away. You guys have a similar approach to that?
Oh, absolutely. You it's trial and error. You see what works for you. You adopt a style for yourself. Like me personally, I'm a fanatic of muscles and armor. Mm-hmm. I would say maybe 80% of my original customs will be bulky and just robust in terms of dimension, because I love armor. Growing up watching Ronin Warriors and Saint Seiya and King Arthur and the Knights of Justice, those type of shows, like, wow, look at all that awesome armor he's wearing. He'll never get hurt, so you want your action figures to be the same, because I could tell you right now, I've had a lot of action figures as a kid and just seeing them break and just being dismantled. It's a tearjerker, man. I'm thinking about it now. I feel like crying. I'm like, so many good figs died if they only had a little bit of armor.
A moment of silence for our figs in the dead zone.
Yeah, man. R.I.P.
Yeah, man. Dude, Tosh, what about you, man?
I started I was looking at Hot Toys for the longest time, and I don't actually own any, but I'm such a huge fan just because of the detail.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what got me into it, because I was comparing my Marvel Legends Winter Soldier to the one on Hot Toys, and I was like, the vest isn't that color at all. Like, the vest isn't brown; it's supposed to be black, And I was doing all these comparisons. I was like, these Marvel Legends are not accurate at all. I was like, I got to make my movie accurate. So that's kind of how I got into it. And it's the same thing, like that dissatisfaction with the product you already have.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so it's actually kind of bad. I've gotten to the point where it's like, I very rarely buy a figure and I'm satisfied with it. Like, almost all the figures on my shelf, I've either repainted or touched up in some way. Yeah,
dude,
it's actually kind of not good.
And I think for me, from a perspective of development, it's like you're owning your toys, like you're owning these figures when you do customize them. I hear you saying oh, I bought this car, or this toy in this case, but I'm gonna add to it. I'm gonna put a decal on it. I'm gonna customize it by giving it a better paint job than what it came with. I think that's really, and it's totally present in everything that I'm looking at right here. I love seeing the little heads on top of the bottles. I think of the paint bottles. I think I'm not sure what they.
Yeah. Those are paint bottles. The caps actually fit perfectly with the heads, so it's a nice stand.
Yeah, just like you can tell. I like some of the before and after ones. I think with DTois, he had the original. I think it was. You said Iron Man. I think it's Iron Man. Yeah, Hulkbuster, and this, and I can see this Juggernaut. That's great. That's great. It's great.
Well, yeah, and the before and after stuff is so cool, just because it's as a noob who wants to get into customizing, like I was, and I kind of still am. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just a guy. I'm a guy who wants to not break something. I'm very adamant about making sure I can preserve every part about everything. So I'm almost kind of too much of a perfectionist sometimes. And it's so cool seeing your guys' progression shots. And that's kind of why I love when people provide updates or work in progresses and stuff.
Yeah, the whole process of I'm looking at this Groot. Holy cow. This Groot that it just looks entirely different from beginning to end.
I guess what's the first thing you get down on the drawing pad?
This is how it usually works. This is how it usually works for me. It's this indescribable feeling of anxiety. You can feel it in your gonads. It's like, I have to do this. I have to make this character this. It's like for instance, I was at work the other day. I was in a meeting with my boss. Totally tuned out. I was looking at the light fixture. I'm like, look at the curves and the smooth texture on that. That looks like it'd be a great shoulder pad on an Incredible Hulk or something like that. I'm like, oh, I gotta make an extremely armored Incredible Hulk, and I just totally tuned out for about maybe an hour. Literally, just that's how it happens. So it starts with the inspiration, and then you get your materials, you pick out the best base, and then you think about how I'm gonna execute these details and what do I have to do in order to make sure that there's no paint rub or things like that, or what colors I'm going to blend, because sometimes, more often than not, you end up making your own colors. And Tosh could attest to that, mixing and getting just right. Shading is it's paramount.
Yeah.
So it's a process, but it's a fun process when you get all these great ideas and you finally lay down the law and you make these customs. And sometimes you run into the hiccups. You got to start over, or you lose interest. But at the end of the day, that journey is one of a kind. Such a great feeling.
Yeah, I'm honestly kind of afraid almost all the time. like when I have the thing in my hand, I'm just like, oh God. I hope, especially with sculpting, dude. Sculpting is so friggin' hard for me. I had a hard time with that Batman head that I did
That
for that
Batman
Dark Knight.
came out great though.
Oh, dude, I'm so glad it did, but I was there forever, like just sitting there and like honestly, I feel like that was just luck because I was trying to sculpt some more stuff on this Doom that I'm working on. Oh my god, that shit's so hard.
I'm really pumped to incorporate the soft goods into there, just because it's like I'm a huge fan of soft goods stuff. I really love like when you can incorporate cloth with plastic, and I think it's a beautiful thing, especially with capes. Those capes are always fun.
I haven't mastered it yet by any degree. Me and cloth do not get along well at all.
It's actually a little easier with a little practice. I just picked up sewing. I bought this $20 sewing machine off of Amazon, and I got it. And I'm like,
dude, I saw your sewing work. I was like, holy shit! Like, did this guy go to class for this?
Man, YouTube, literally 5 minutes on YouTube, trial and error. You know, I was making bodysuits within a day. I did the hood for the Scarlet Spider that I made.
Oh, dude, yeah.
That's awesome. DTois making his own clothes now for himself.
Yeah, man. You know, it's tailor made, bro. You know,
Yeah.
the scene. You know,
dude, Nike was so 1990, bro.
Yeah. That's amazing. Juan, I'm looking at your the cape on your Doom. I didn't see that till now. Holy cow.
It's excellent.
Yeah, it was a challenge. More than anything right now, I'm running into hiccups with the tunic because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like essentially I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just kind of going off of ideas that
so when you added his tunic, this is like a stupid question, but did you add underwear for him, or is that something that you do? Or do you add like that kind of level of detail? I'm saying like things below, not maybe things that you can't see necessarily.
Sure. Yeah. No, like no question in customization is stupid because it's like the whole thing is just kind of off a question like, well, how can I make this figure better? So like, you know, for me, it's kind of like, well, what are the viewers going to see the most? Like when this is on someone's shelf, what's someone going to look at first? And that's kind of what I concentrate on. Because if it's stuff that's going to be underneath that not many people are going to be going to, I generally don't worry about it. So to answer your question, no, I didn't put underwear on him. It's just kind of his underwear is essentially just going to be his whole armor suit.
Yeah, I know that was my silly ad, but like, you know, for you guys too, do you add like that, like secret stuff, like stuff that you know is there, or like, you know, that I guess the figure would know because he's like, hey, thanks for the underwear, man, or thanks for the, I don't know, thanks for the
free balling, man.
Yeah, exactly, or like thanks for like the little detail under my mask that no one probably will see, or like not many people will see. Is that something that you guys do?
I think it'll boil down to what kind of accessories you're gonna give your figure. I did an armored Etrigan the Demon from the DC Comics universe.
Yeah.
And his cape is removable, and I did a lot of detail sculpting on the back, even though the cape covers it. So just in case you want to take the cape off, you know, you want to get a battle scene going, you know, the detail is there just in case. You know, I know a lot of times, you know, especially in I guess statues, a lot of details go missing. I've seen it in a lot of figures. Like I'm looking at some Hasbro. I got some in front of me right now. It's just not there. No shadings, just molded plastic. There's no fun to it. You know, I want to take something off.
It's a long, sad sigh.
Yep. Yep.
It's like,
yeah, well, and oh, great, that's awesome. Like it's like they're literally alive almost, seemingly.
I wish.
They're friends. You ever seen Toy Story?
Oh, dude, hell yeah.
Yeah, we're not Andy. We're Sid. I'll put good money on that. We are not Andy.
That's a good a Sandy sandwich right there, or Andy sandwich.
Andy sandwich.
I'm looking at Kurst's Magneto. That I think it was the first one. I really like this lighting like that it has, and just it's so good.
I hope Kurst is still there. I hope he hasn't fallen asleep.
I'm tuning it. I'm here.
Crust, are you there?
Crust.
Gotta watch this. Stop salivating on your pillow.
I'm looking at your Magneto though. Could you talk about just like some of the detail that was put into this?
Yeah. I don't really remember that one. Well, I like what I did was I just had like parts. Like I have bins of just parts, and I just like slapping things together, and that's how that one came about. And I was like, oh, this would be a good Magneto. I have capes, I have body parts, I have heads, and I don't have a Magneto. But for the most part, everything just kind of fell together. The only thing that was a pain in the ass was the helmet, because I was trying to be comic accurate, but I'm not too good with symmetry. So once,
oh my god, you and me are like the same.
I did one side, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever done." And then when I came to the other side, I was like, "Oh my god, this is the worst thing I've ever done."
Yes. So what happened with the symmetry here? So I can't see it. Is it
Oh, I'm also
that means that Kurst did his job exactly the way he needed to be done.
Okay.
I'm my biggest critic, so I'll look at my work and I just think it's pure garbage. And someone else looks at it and they're like, "What the hell? You made that?"
I totally know. I totally know what you mean, dude. Like as the artist, you know the flaws of your work.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like as good as it is when it's finished, you still know like all the pain that went into it and all the maybe like problems that like other people don't see. Like even if like you fix the problems in the end, but it's more like you know everything that went into it. And so at the end of it, you're like, this still could have been better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's why we end up doing more than one version.
I think
that's why I have 4 Punishers.
I have, exactly. Same thing. I have a Gambit on my Instagram that I made as a commission, and I couldn't find the right head, and I was just like kicking myself in the ass. I'm like, this sucks, and the client was happy, and then like I gave it to him, he was happy with it, and then I made a Gambit right after that, and every problem I had with the one before it, I just overcame it, no problem with the next one. And I'm looking at the second one and thinking, this is freaking beautiful. I want to just hit that guy up and be like, hey, I'll trade you this good. Yeah, I'll trade you this good one for that trash one, because I'm still thinking about how I was unhappy with the one that he got. As happy as he was with it, and like, I don't know, he was stoked with it, and I just wasn't.
And that's something that's so risky to me. Like, for the longest time, I wanted to get into customizing to make money on the side. At the end of the day, my entire figure journey was to buy expensive figures and then sell them and then try to make money off that. And then I learned real quick that hey, that was not a welcome thing in the community. So I was like, oh, well, there goes that. And then
yeah, there's a word for it.
And it's hard to do. It's hard to do as well and make a living. It's like, if I want to make a living, job, I can just do that instead.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so like with customizing, it's nerve-wracking to me to be able to be like, hey, my commissions are open, and then get flooded with, like, make me this, and then have someone come back to me and be like, well, what's this? Why are you charging so much? Like, this doesn't look that great. And it's like, I'm afraid of doing that. I don't know what you guys experienced in that, or
it's
what's
scary.
up.
It's very scary, because a lot of times when you get a commission, you may or may not get a character that's comic accurate, or the customer might not even want a comic accurate piece. They want something conceptual, and you have to, in your
completely
mind,
original.
Exactly, and you'll start something, and they'll be like, well, maybe you can do this, or maybe change the base, or maybe change the color. It's like, wow, it's nerve wracking. It's very very difficult at times. You want to give them.
I've only ever done one. I've only ever done one like conceptual one, and it was for this one lady whose husband was working on like this graphic design, like computer game kind of thing. And so she sent me like the concept art for this one character he made, and she's like, "Can you turn this into a figure?" And that was like the scariest thing ever, because I was like, this dude has, like put like this, it's part of his living, and he made this guy, like, he made this character, and you want me to turn it into something that's like actually physical. And that was so scary, because I was like, I don't want to fail this dude. Like, I don't know him, but
right.
And then just commenting on what both Tosh and DTois just said, people don't understand how freaking hard it is to take a 2-dimensional object and make it 3D.
Oh
So
man,
true.
Like taking a comic book character that looks amazing on paper, like take like 90s Deadpool. That thing looks super badass, and if you make a 3D version of that, it's not going to look anywhere near as cool as it does on paper.
Nope.
Like have you guys seen those images of the one Hasbro's putting out? Like the
the one that's coming out.
Yeah,
It's coming out soon. Yeah.
the 90s version of that Deadpool, like that thing looks not cool.
It looks pretty plain. I gotta say,
exactly.
it looks plain as hell.
And even if you threw like a wash over it, or you repainted it completely, it's not going to look anywhere near as badass as it does in the comic book.
I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, I'm still going to buy it.
Yeah.
I'm still going to buy.
I'm gonna buy that whole wave.
Dude, I kind of need that cable. I gotta say, that cable looks badass as hell.
Yeah, that
Save
cable's
us trouble.
I like every single person in that wave except the Deadpool. Like we get Gwenpool and we have Cable and Domino. Like that's awesome.
Who else is in that wave? Isn't there like an X-23?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's X-23, and then you got Deathlock as well.
Oh yes,
forgot
yeah.
about Deathlock.
I need to update my Deathlock. I still have the one you sent me, Juanito.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, that Deathlock had so much potential, but it was just kind of keeping up a space on my shelf that I could use for something else.
That's where it's at now. I got it from you as a commission. I was like, I'm gonna make a freaking, not a commission, a custom. Sorry. I was like, this is gonna be such a freaking sweet forge, and now it's just yeah, now it's still just Deathlock.
Reminds you of Juanito and be like, oh, good times.
Yeah, I look at it all the time, and I'll like turn it. I'll turn its head away and be like, "Don't look at me, Juanito."
It reminds me of that Wolverine meme when he's like holding that picture and he's got his hand on the photo.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh, Juanito, like, oh man,
Juanito.
Or
it's like running in the
Bobby Hill just looking disappointed.
Shakes his head and rides.
God dang it, Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby,
I'll tell you what.
tell you what.
Yeah, man. So like I'm still kind of on the fence of whether like doing commissions is the way to go. Like I think I might just I think Tosh, you brought this up the other day when we were talking. Like
Yeah.
I think I might just kind of start making stuff and selling it, see if anyone wants to buy that, and just kind of leave it be. Like here's a thing I made. If you're open to it, here you go. If you're not, then
Agreed. That's a good strategy. I mean,
Commissions are the hardest thing because, like, sometimes the customer will give you a character or a figure that you're just so super stoked about, and other times you'll be like, I have no love for this character at all.
Yeah, exactly.
But, and commissions are the hard thing because it's like if you're in the figure and custom game to make money, commissions are the way to go. But it's so hard to like put your heart into something and do good work on something that you're not interested in.
Right. You get bored. You don't want to make it a job. You want to keep the fun aspect of it going.
Yeah, exactly.
Like me and Tosh, we actually did commissions for the same person where we're doing the Moon Knight variants.
Yeah, Voltage, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I did that too.
No way.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm in that. I'm on his shelf.
Are we like Eskimo brothers now? Like, this is awesome. But yeah, I actually had fun doing it because me personally, I like doing sculpt work and making monsters. You have a certain free enterprise when you're making ugly characters per se. And
the Moon Knight was actually so fun because I had been looking at that Moon Knight and I'd been wanting to make that one for a while. And so when I saw his post of like, hey, I need people to make so-and-so Moon Knight, and that Moon Knight was on the list, I was so happy because I was just like, this is perfect. Like, I'm actually excited about this.
And actually gave me an opportunity to test out some new materials. I'm always messing around with these toxic chemicals. I went to Home Depot, picked up some silicone, and like, you know what? Maybe if I put a little food coloring here, a little food color in there, mix with the silicone, and coated all these wires and make some nice posable tentacles. And sure enough, it came out great. I was able to make something nice. If you actually look at my page, I was able to support 3 Marvel Legends in suspended air, just off those tentacles.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, man.
Strength of materials, man. You learn something new, custom.
I'm looking at, I'm looking at. He's carrying them like he's stronger than me.
Gains, man.
It's funny,
gains.
funnily enough, he's holding Iron Fist too. So.
Well, everyone has to
there he
support
is.
Iron Fist, especially after Defenders.
Yeah. Danny Rand.
What you guys think of that? What you guys think of that show?
I actually thought it was cool. I thought everyone in it was cool, and they kind of did a good job selling Danny as like this immature little dork kid, and you kind of saw him grow a little bit. He grows into his role. Granted, there were some I also come from an arts background in media, so it's just kind of like there was some pretty solid continuity error that I was just kind of like, what the hell? Like in Luke Cage's show, he can stop a car, but then this mercenary that has no powers pushes him in the middle of the street and he gets plowed over by a car. That didn't make any sense to me. I didn't get that.
And he didn't drink enough coffee in the series. He had one sexual romp. Come on, it's Luke Cage.
Yeah, that was a little strange though. But I mean, I thought overall, it was enjoyable. I liked the Danny Rand stuff, just 'cause, like white privilege and that kind of stuff. Like I thought that was interesting. I'm glad they actually threw some of that stuff in.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Luke Cage being like, "Hey man, I'm a person. You're rich. You're a rich white boy that I don't know." Takes justice in his own hands. I don't know.
Yeah. Like you see things differently from I do. Like we come from different worlds, in a way.
Yeah.
I did like it.
I really enjoyed it. I thought the pacing and characters were very good. I was super happy with it.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Like all the small stuff aside, it was a show that pulled a lot off in 8 episodes, more than any of the other shows did in 13.
Agreed. I mean, Stick was the man. I mean, what?
Stick's my dude. Stick's my dude, man. All day. Yes, the cut off the hand. Oh my! It was so nonchalant. Like
it was so clean.
Like, oh well, I got another one. Oh well.
And then he escapes in a vent that's like 8 feet on the wall. Like, how do you do that? How do you jump that high?
With one hand.
Yeah, with one hand, clearly.
And he's blind.
Like, oh yeah. Oh, duh. He's blind. I forgot about that. Duh.
Yeah, good show.
Security checks.
The only real thing I took away from that is that Danny Rand is the immortal Iron Fist sworn in with a hand.
Protector of Kunlun. But isn't Kunlun gone? Like, isn't it not there?
He doesn't even know where it is. He doesn't know its address. He doesn't know Kunlun's address. He doesn't know the
P.O. box, nothing, man.
Yeah, nothing. Can't say.
It sounds like a Chinese dish.
Like, I'll have a side of rice with the Kunlun.
Can I get a number 2 with extra Kunlun?
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So just so you guys know, I'm relatively new to the comic game. Juanito was my in for this. But a lot of these figure. I'm sorry.
You fell into that rabbit hole, man. I told you not to fall.
I know, and I spent like $100 and something on comics.
I watched you. I watched you. And I was like, dude, don't click the buy now button. And you were like,
I already did.
It's like, wait, this button, this one right here, don't touch this one.
That is exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened.
You were sitting right next to me, and I was watching Game of Thrones, and
we were about to start another podcast, and you're like, I'm gonna buy all these, and I'm like, don't do it. And you're like, okay, I will.
But what I was gonna say, my Amazon card is full of another $100 worth, and yeah, and it's no big deal. It's hobbies, and what I'm seeing too with you guys have such a strong hobby with what you do, and I'm sure a lot of money goes into it.
Oh my god,
I'm sure, and
more than we'd like to admit.
But like it's just like any hobbies. I have hobbies. My big hobby is like video games, things of that sort. But I'm digging just how like artsy a lot of this stuff. Like even if it's like ugly figurines. There's a lot of them that just look just beautiful to me. Like my favorite one that I'm looking at here so far is DTois. I don't know what Ninja Turtle this is.
Is that Slash? Slash?
Yeah.
Is that the one? Hell yeah.
Like it looks so terrifying, but it's like that's art. Like that's art.
Huge.
That's
Appreciate
freaking art, dude. I saw DTois Slash, and I was in a dry spell, and the second I saw that, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get back to my desk. I gotta work. If DTois pumping out, if he's pumping out stuff like that, I need to jump on it.
Oh, it's community right there, folks. It brings a tear to my eye.
Yeah, man, we inspire each other, man. Like I'll see Tasha's work, Kurt's work, and my buddy Bone Claws, he's in the group also. Me and him,
Yeah,
we
dude,
chop it
Bone
up a
Claws is
lot.
crazy. His stuff's awesome.
He's another beast too, man. If you get a chance to check him out, Bone Claws Customs. But yeah, man, we inspire each other as a community. We'd see something someone else is like, oh, that's so badass, and you'd get like a stroke of genius, and you just start brainstorming, and you just start going to town on these figures, man. We inspire each other. A lot of times there's a lot of overlap, but at the end of the day, everybody has their own unique style, their own unique preference and tastes, and we make great stuff, man.
I think that's what makes it fun because, like, in art, sometimes, especially more like paintings and photography and stuff like that, it's like there's only so much you can do with it in a way. But when you're making a custom, like every single one is unique because every single person has a different way of doing things.
Absolutely.
Like you could take two of the same picture and have two different people do it, but you can't have someone make, two of the same custom and have two different people do it. Like they won't look the same ever.
You'll never produce the same result. Nope.
Well, and it's such a unique thing too, because it's like, I want to make sure I'm giving whoever I'm making it for like the ultimate product. Like I want to make sure that no stone is left unturned kind of thing. Like this Doom, I'm kind of going balls out for it. I mean, at least for me anyway, but it's like, I want to give it soft goods. I want to give it magnet accessories. I want to give it, he's a sorcerer. Like I want to give him sorcery effects too. And I was inspired by this photo I saw online of God Doom holding Mjolnir, the hammer. And it's like, I want to give him a hammer too, and it's like all this crazy stuff. And it's, I want there to be zero question in terms of like, well, was this really worth something that I paid? Like, I'm just trying to think of it as like a buyer too. Like, we buy figs all the time, and it's like, am I really getting my money's worth? When you look at toys back from the Toy Biz days and stuff, it's like, you got a comic, you got a base, you got accessories, you got the figure, and you got to build a figure piece, and that stuff was $7.99, $8.99. And now it's like, you're paying $20 and you get the figure with you get flat paint jobs, you get mediocre sculpting, you get no fig base, you get minimal accessories, maybe a couple hands, and you don't even get a comic book either in that stuff, just like the old days. So it's like, I don't know, man. Like for me, customizing is a lot more about making sure that I can like make an impression when this person opens this box.
Yeah.
Of that package, when they open it that day, they can be like, "Holy shit, what did I buy? This is amazing."
Yeah. I think the worst one as far as like making it the best possible figure is Punisher.
That's tough.
Because like
there's so many iterations of him.
Yeah, well, I made this one, and you guys probably remember it, but he had about like 30 some odd accessories.
Yeah, I remember seeing that one.
I remember. Oh, that one was loaded.
Yeah, it was like the guns and then the helmet and like the
I went full out on that one, and it was one of those things where it was like the guy who bought it, like I absolutely 100% know he was satisfied, but it was one of those things where it's like I finished making him and I was like, I have no more guns. Like I used all my parts. I used all my parts and accessories on this one guy. I mean, he looks amazing, and I know the buyer's going to be satisfied. But you're like, oh wow, that was a little much. I went a little overkill on that. But at the same time, you're like so happy. But at the same time, you're like so happy about it.
That's a good way of putting it. Overkill for Punisher. Yeah.
There you go. Full circle.
And there's your.
That's another reason why I got into casting also, because I felt like I'd run out of all of the good weapons. So I just started, molding and casting helmets, heads, weapons, and now I just find that I don't need to buy as many because I can always just reproduce my own.
And that's a very interesting point, because like, I'm an avid supporter of like the community. Like I want to help other creators out. So I went out and I brought in Toy Strugs. And like that kid was getting started with casting, and I'm like, dude, like this stuff looks gnarly as hell. Like, can you make me some stuff, and then I'll put you out there. And it's like, like I didn't know you did casting stuff, man. Like I kind of wanted to, if I need anything, I'll reach out to you next, man.
Hey, if you're casting weapons and stuff, I could use some. So
I got you, Tasha. I'm right now, bro. I got you, man.
Post some of those things up for sale.
Yeah, man. I love. I'll get you guys a nice little catalog to look at. You know, if anything you see out there that you want casted, let me know. I'll probably have a copy of it, and I'll just get some copies going for you guys.
Sweet.
And how, like, is casting hard? Like, I've never done it before.
It's not hard, you know. I watch guys like Toby Wayne Studios. He's another guy who's just phenomenal. That's another story, but it's pretty simple. You know, you just get your bases. You know, you get your setup going. You know, you mind cure times and you mind mixing, and you find that it's easier than it looks. And when you produce your first cast, you're gonna make mistakes at first, but once you get used to it, it's like, holy smoke. Am I God?
Real quick question. I was thinking about getting into casting, but I'm also super scared of it. What happens to like your original? Like if I took a head and I casted it, or if I, took a part and I casted it, like is the original damaged in the process?
Absolutely not. You'll take it out and it's like, wow, this wasn't even any rubber at all.
Yeah,
It's
literally nothing happens to it. The original, nothing.
Yeah, like right now
Awesome.
I'm casting a bunch of Mythic Legion heads, the helmets, so I can make my army. But I casted maybe 3 of them last night. They came out scot-free, man. You just have to make sure you're careful when you're taking it out of the mold once it cures, because you're taking it out with an X-Acto knife. You gotta be very precise not to scratch the original piece. But after that, man, it's a piece of cake. You should have no issues. I highly recommend that everybody at least try it once. You go on Amazon, you get yourself some mold star and some resin, and just go to town, man. Try something new. I'm always trying new chemicals, man. Silicone, different rubbers, different plastics,
Cement.
Plastic is another, yes, I'm mixing it all, man. Catching these fumes are getting high, but
vibranium, adamantium.
Can you please cast some parts in cement? Like, oh my gosh.
That's actually,
you guys,
that's
I can't seem to get my original part out of the cement.
It's well, you gotta use a better mold release, you gotta
like make your recast out of cement. Like you can make your original in resin. Once you have that cast though, fill it with cement. I want a cement head.
Yeah, I mean I've done cast and plaster. Like when I used to do just regular statues and little, because I did some casting of some Nindoroid figures, and I kind of made my own little mix up. You can actually see it on my Instagram too, kind of just making little customs of my friends and things like that, little projects. And I did some of them in plaster and they came out excellent. But plaster does break if it falls, but that's just a calculated risk you got to take when you're using it.
Cool.
It's cheap as hell too, man. You won't spend more than $10 on about a gallon's worth.
I was gonna say, like the buying casting parts. Like you go to Casting Cave and stuff, you're paying a lot for shipping. Yeah, so it's like you have to get quite a few parts to get your money's worth.
It's one of those things, it's an investment. If you know you're gonna cast a lot of stuff and you have a lot of stuff you want to cast for your customs in the future, you want to get a nice little inventory going, maybe sell some. Yeah, definitely get your own resin. But if it's just a one-shot deal, man, guys like Casting Cave, Star Wars Geek, those guys, Toy Strugs, that's my guy. Toby Green does a lot of casting too. These guys are great too, man, and they'll always hook you up on the prices. They'll never charge too much. I've seen some crazy prices, but those guys, grade A all the way.
Nice. Okay.
That's always fun stuff. That's cool. Like, so what are you guys working on now? Like, how do you guys find something to work on?
Oh my God, what am I not working on? I have a bad habit. It's a really bad habit. Like I have all of these ideas, and I have to at least get one foot in the door with each custom so that I don't lose the mojo for it. So right now,
oh man, that's dangerous. That's so dangerous.
It's dangerous, but it's what works for me. I know a lot of guys, they'll say they work on one custom at a time, and I have
that's what I'm doing now. I feel like I'm getting burned out working on Doom.
Yeah, sometimes you got to jump around to keep the creativity fresh and flowing.
No, definitely. I always have 2 or 3 projects running at the same time. Mm-hmm. Just so, first of all, it's more time efficient because it's like, I'll put the primer down for one figure or something like that, or I'll do some sculpt for one figure, and then I'm like, okay, I still want to customize, but I have to wait for the sculpt to finish. So then you pull, your another project and you're working on that. But as far as
I'm sure it's safe on like epoxy and stuff, because I noticed a lot when I'm sculpting stuff on Doom, I have a bunch of leftover stuff that I have nothing to do with, and it all goes to waste. Yep,
that's the truth, man. Yeah. You gotta allocate your resources so you don't waste anything. Right now, I'm working on a /2.0 I'm working on my army.
2.0.
When you guys see it, you're gonna lose your shits. You're gonna lose your minds.
Wow.
Jesus.
I'm working on my own personal army. I started a little while ago, but I want to kind of get the numbers in there. Working on some more turtles, and just keeping ideas flowing. I jot down as much as I can, and I lay down the foundations for them, and then I go back to them whenever I get finished with one custom, depending on if I get a commission or not. Commissions always take priority, but personal projects, I'm okay with leaving things unfinished for now, because it gives yourself some time to explore new ideas and work with new materials, and something might inspire you, might actually make it better. You just take your time, no rush.
Yeah, inspiration can't be rushed, for sure.
Amen.
Every time
Challenge accepted.
Every time I'm like inspired to make a figure, I always like go online and search up like the different variations of the character, and I take a ton of screenshots. And so like my phone, like with photo albums, they're all like they're I have them in albums, and each of the albums is like the screenshot sets for the figure I want to make. Yep. And so I have a ton of those, and so I make like I have a huge list of them now, and so I just move through them like one by one, and you just like make a figure, and then you've completed it, you post it up, and you just work down that list of stuff that you're interested in.
Very interesting. Yeah, I have a similar approach to you, Tosh. Like I kind of go online and find stuff, but I don't know. Like in the long run, that's where my inspiration comes from, and then I end up deviating and trying to make it unique. And
yeah, like, you have to make it you.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Put your twist on it.
Yeah. Crust, what are you working on, man?
I am working on a. Shit, I just lost the word. It's like it's an original concept. That's what it is.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah, it's for a client. He just randomly hit me up on Instagram. Was like, "Hey, I like your work. I got this comic book character that I'm writing with some friends. Would you be interested in making a 3D version?" And I was like, "Yeah, awesome. Sure. Let's do it." And
hence the 2D making it a 3D challenge. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. With this one, it's not too complicated. I mean, it's essentially a guy without a t-shirt.
Nice.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But
sounds hot.
Oh, it's so hot. It's hard to work on it and be able to stand up properly.
You're like shaking and sweating the whole time.
Yeah, I'm sweating, and then I take my shirt off, and it's hard to.
You got hungry guys playing in the background.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh wow, this is just sounding more and more like a dream.
Yeah, you can come over whenever you want, dude. We can go
sure.
But yeah, I've been working on this for a while though.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. I just like, well, it's cool. I really like the character. I like the concept. I like what the character stands for. I love everything that the customer has brought to me, but it's really like different from what I've done. I think like if you look at my Instagram, most of what I've done is X-Men. Like I grew up with that.
Dude, your X-Men are killer, man. That magic,
that magic was amazing.
That magic. I want to ask her on a date.
It's a kind of magic. Oh,
that one was hard to let go. It was hard to let go. I slapped it together and I was like, "Ooh, this is my baby." And I hit up the customer. I was like, "Hey,
can I have it?
You're not getting this. Sorry. Here's your money back."
Yeah, the X-Men and then the Mammal Max you did was pretty bitchin' too.
Oh, Mammal Max. Oh, that was my favorite. I was hounding Curse for that one for a long time. Like, can I see it? Let me have it, please.
Yeah, dude, that thing's beautiful, man.
That one, yeah. That one was fun. I would take that guy to work with me. I'd work on it. Like, you know how DTois spaced out during his meetings?
Yeah.
I was sculpting. I was telling my boss, like, hey, you know what? I got an action figure I got to work on. You need to hurry this up. I don't care if stocks are falling. I don't care.
I don't care about the hedge funds. The hedge funds are fine.
I don't care. I don't care, Mr. President. I need to go do this.
You know
Get
what?
shot.
Just buy everything. Buy stocks. Buy. And now buy because I'm leaving. No, no, that one was honestly like my favorite one. It took me a while just because, like what you guys were talking about earlier, like preparation for it. Like I sat there for a good week trying to figure out what I was gonna do with it, how I was gonna pull off the freaking elephant feet, the elephant head. How I can make like good ears, something that's going to move around and not break the second the customer gets it. How I was going to make this skin look like freaking
Pachyderm skin.
Yeah, whatever texture that is. Make it look like an elephant and a human at the same time.
Yeah,
dude, and it's almost like that's the part that seems so daunting to me. It's like you spend just as much time, if not more, well, probably just as much, maybe less, trying to think of a concept for the whole thing. It's like for me, finding the base figures, like the buck mold of what you're going to use, like what you're going to kit bash together is so hard.
Yeah, it's terrible. But honestly, for me, I don't know about Tosh and DTois, but with me, I like kind of just figure things out as I go. Like,
Definitely.
I'll like
Honestly,
I'll grab a base and be like, you know what, this is going to work perfect. It's a perfect scale. It's a perfect body. And I'm doing joint prep, making sure everything's going to be fine. There's not going to be any rubbish. And then I'll start figuring out, okay, how am I going to pull off like this look, or how am I going to do this? Like,
and for our listeners out there, like, do you mind elaborating what the joint prep is? Like, what is that?
It's a pain in the ass is what it is.
Yes. Oh, I know.
No, what it is when you're going through moving the arms of your action figure, the legs, the hips, everything, there's going to be plastic on plastic. And what that does, if there's any paint there, it's going to remove that paint and it's going to expose whatever color is underneath. So if you have a red base and you decided to paint the action figure black, and you rub those two joints without prepping it, you're going to see red, and that's not cool. So prepping it is just disassembling your action figure in the least destructive way you can. And just going through and sanding down absolutely every part that moves. And like I said, it's a huge pain in the ass, but I mean, it's worth it in the end because you're not having to go back and cover your tracks and redo things over and over and over again and trying to figure out how to fix whatever mistake or step you skipped.
The most annoying part is like when you think you've completely prepped it and then you get like your primer on or your paint on, and then you go around and test all your joints again, and something rubs, and you're sitting there like, I cannot believe this. And it happens so many times.
Like there's no more joint to remove. Like how are you still
exactly. Yeah, like with my Romulus custom. It was weird. Gorgeous. It was weird. It was only his right side, his right foot, and the right hip joint. Mm-hmm. Both of those were rubbing, and so I kept on sanding it down and like using the X-Acto knife and just shaving stuff off, and it kept on rubbing. And then finally, I got the Dremel and I just like re-Dremeled everything out. Yep, and then after that, I did the whole super glue protection over all the joints.
Nice.
Yeah, and I mean now it's good, but it took forever. Like I'm not even kidding. I probably repainted those parts like 5 times because I kept on getting rub.
Dude, it's like easily the most boring part of the job, but it's the most gratifying at the end where you're like, when you have the perfect amount of clearance, you're just like, oh, man, I hope this makes it, and then it does, and you're like, oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yes. I hate the prep. The prep sucks so much. It's like the whole thing, honestly, is just build up to painting.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
it's kind of why, like, if I'm doing a custom and I come across, a figure, a base that doesn't require a lot of prep, I'm like, thank God for you.
That's why I love Punisher, because all the Punisher figures are ready. The suit's already black. Like all it is for me is detailing. I don't like that. Like it's like they look so nice, and at the same time they're so simple, and it's so nice to do that.
Yeah, especially for my the knight army that I'm trying to build. I purposely go after figures with black kneecaps. That way, you know, it's
Yo, man, why the kneecaps got to be black?
Yeah, why they gotta be black though?
well, I'm saying it's 2017, man.
Why can't they be brown kneecaps? All kneecaps matter.
All kneecaps, man.
Out of here. About how long does a custom take? Like average?
If you work it straight through, it depends. But knowing me, I'll dropping it off, picking it up later. The shortest custom I've ever finished was maybe 48 hours.
Oh, wow.
The longest lead time was maybe 3 weeks for one.
Wow,
that's about the same for me. Like the shortest one I've ever done probably took about a month, and then the longest one is probably what I'm doing now. I started this one back in April, and just it's been a lot of back and forth between me and the customer, and like we'll get something done and we'll both be like, you know what, we can fix it, we can make it look better, we could always make it better.
Yeah, like the Doom. I've started that back in May, and I'm still going. But it's just like it's been like, I don't know. It's a lot of it's just kind of like DTois said. Like I'm losing the mojo on that. Like it's just like time to sit down at the desk for like a couple hours the rest of today and work on it. It's like or I could go do something else. And it's like I ended up not going or customizing or something. So
that's awesome though. I mean, like just this whole I'm learning so much right now. Like I don't customize, I don't collect. Juan, I see all Juan's toys and I play with his toys, which I take that back. That sounds terrible.
Okay, so when you guys edit this, cut that.
That'll be the next podcast.
That's how it starts out. That's how it starts out, actually.
That's our intro. That's the intro.
Yeah. Actually, it could be, but like it's just amazing, honestly, just to see how phenomenal this is. Like we all have different interests and like passions in life and hobbies that like just kind of like help us alleviate the stress of like just general life. And I could see how absolutely like therapeutic and like fulfilling all of this can be.
It keeps us sane.
Heck yeah.
Amen to that, man.
Speaking of therapeutic, you guys have been therapeutic to this episode. Kurst, DTois, Tosh, dude, thanks you guys for all your knowledge bombs today, man.
Yeah, I love it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man.
It's so
Go ahead.
It's so cool to be able to. It's so cool to be able to like talk customs and stuff like that, because it's so hard to do it in a chat. But this is so cool.
Yeah, like maybe we can make this like a regular thing. Like you guys can cycle in and out with other users out there, and that's kind of my hope anyway. Like I'd like to get guys who do a lot of photography as well, and other guys who collaborate with podcasts or something. That's kind of like the ultimate goal. And John and I do the comics thing, and we're looking to hopefully touch into video games a little bit because that's his forte. So
that's my thing. Yep.
So it's kind of a little bit of everything here. But obviously mine's toys, and you guys are awesome contributors to the group and all that. And my hope is to hopefully inspire other people out there to get into customizing or who are on the bridge of like whether or not they should take a dive, because that's where I was for the longest time. Like it's such a daunting task, and it's you got to start somewhere. You got to start gathering the glues, the paints, the clays, and all that stuff for the materials and the tools that you're going to use. And it's not, Rome wasn't built in a day, so it kind of takes time to build those supplies. And so I don't know, man. It's kind of cool to learn your guys' process about everything. And really, really thanks for joining the podcast for today, boys.
I'm digging it though. I love it. I think it's important for you guys to be able to talk to each other. It's like any lifestyle, you need to talk to people, and I think this is awesome to share these stories behind the sandwich, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. And just going off of that, I mean, at least with me, I'm sure Tosh and DTois are probably in the same boat because they're both great guys and really helpful in the community. If you guys have questions or you are interested or just anything, hit us up. We're all definitely really cool dudes. DTois is like, I don't know. He's you know what? He's cool. He's cool for a minute. No, but we're all really cool dudes. We're not here to keep secrets. There's a bunch of customizers out there that are just too hush hush about what their process is.
Yes.
Like
yes.
that was something I struggled with when I was getting into it. I tried asking questions and no one was willing to help. And now that I'm in it, now that I have friends in the community, hit us up, ask. We don't have
Most definitely. And I'll include links down at the bottom for you guys' Instagram pages, and I'll reiterate your guys' tags and whatnot, man. It's great stuff, really fun stuff. All right, well, that was a pretty sweet discussion, man. I think that was a pretty cool set of interviews we had there. Wouldn't you say, Johnny?
Yeah. Oh my God, that was definitely a change of pace to what we're used to. Usually it's just you and me, but now we got other folks that are like really interested in putting themselves out there.
The empire is slowly growing.
Oh yeah, the sandwich name is growing. It's becoming if you will, a panini.
Oh,
I don't.
Melted cheeses, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have it our way, man.
Maybe we can have
Burger King or Subway,
or we'll have it like another way. I don't know, but it's gonna be good. it's good.
Awesome.
I enjoyed learning about the customized action figures. I know nothing of, like I've said before, but it's just amazing just to see how much passion, just work goes into it, man.
Such is the life of the toy community, man. It's definitely an awesome place to be, and it's fun, even more so to create something that other people are going to enjoy. So, and if you get to make a little money on the side, hey, it's a bonus.
Yeah, and I think we'll definitely be revisiting this. So, other toy folks, we're coming for you.
Oh yes, pretty soon you'll have your own seat at the Nerd Sandwich table, folks.
Yeah.
That about wraps up another episode for us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. As always, there's a subscribe button. Ooh, man, I can't pronounce my words today. You got the subscribe button underneath that beautiful window there. And you got the like button right across from that. And then on the top right, you got the little bell that lets you know every time Nerd Sandwich posts new content. So make sure you give that a click. Once again, I'm the Invincible Juan.
This is totally awesome, John.
And this was
Nerd Sandwich.